But look at that first paragraph. This is why we use it. This is why I often bring this lesson up a few times throughout a year, on a year that I decide to use it. Because look at this. It says, this single thought held firmly in the mind would save the world. I mean, aren't we always looking for this? What can save the world? What is going to save the world? Is it this political party in power, or this political party in power, or this group governing the Senate, or this group governing the Congress? We always have our ideals. You know, if this thing changes or that thing changes, that this is going to make it all okay. If I have this relationship or don't have this relationship, or I have this amount of money in the bank, or I have this job, everything's going to be okay. It says no. It says there's nothing in the world, because there's always something in the world that needs to be changed for me to be peaceful, for me to have my happiness, for me to be content. And this says you don't need anything else but the awareness of who and what you really are. I am as God created me, not what I've made of myself, as the Course so often tells us. Not the illusions I've made of myself, but the reality. And that's why it says we're going to repeat this from time to time. We're going to add more layers to it, and it's going to mean more to us as we proceed through the Course. And it says these words are sacred, for they are the words God gave in answer to the world you made. So in answer to the world of pain and suffering and illusion and darkness, he said this, you are the reality that you have always been. You are as God created you. Nothing can change that reality. And it says by that awareness, by these words it says, by that awareness, they disappear. This world disappears, and all things seen within its misty clouds and vaporous illusions vanish as these words are spoken, for they come from God. Imagine that. That just the whole idea of that the things of this world are just vaporous illusions. But it makes sense, doesn't it? One moment, you're upset about something, and the next moment, somebody brings it to your attention. Hey, well, how did that ever turn out? And you go, what? Well, the thing you were upset about when you talked to me a month ago. Oh, I can't remember that. I'm on to something else now. That's how vaporous our illusions are, how misty and how they change so much for us. What we're mad about or upset about one minute is not the same thing the next minute. I mean, think about the life of Jesus. I always go back to the life of Jesus this time of year. Wonder why, you know. We celebrate this idea of Christ being born. And think about Christ. Boy, he didn't have a very good entry. You know, maybe some of you didn't have, maybe some of you, I'm sure most of us don't remember our birth. I don't really remember my birth, but I know it was in a hospital. But there was probably, or somewhere where a midwife was there, somebody who was there to kind of take care of you. Think about Jesus. You know, here he was, went up, no room in the inn, had to be born in a stable, had to be born in a manger. And then what about the family relationships that were going on? Here Mary was immaculately, Jesus was immaculate conception. Mary had this immaculate conception, and Joseph is just supposed to swallow that, you know? I mean, you stop and think about this. This could have been a little disruptive within the family unit, you know? So here's this baby coming along, disrupting the family unit. Here's the baby coming along, no place to be born. Here's the baby coming along in a manger with straw all around it. And then the miraculous thing, she always knew this, right? But what happened? Into the stable comes these three kings who'd been following a light and said, this is the Son of God. This is the gift we search for. And this one is deserving of being a king. And that's for us, not just for him. Because what did Jesus say? These things I do, you can do in greater. You are like me. We are the same. So maybe in your life, you've been shut into a stable. Maybe you haven't felt welcomed in your life. Maybe family relationships haven't been so good. Maybe you feel like, I'm just like Jesus, you know, relegated to a stall and some straw and a manger. All my ideas, you know, are not given the power that they need to be given. But it says the potential is always there. Those kings come. That light is there. You know, the reality of who we are, the royalty that abides within us, if you will, the inheritance that we are entitled to. None of these vaporous illusions or misty clouds of the world can diminish the reality of the Holy Son of God, which is each and every one of us. And as we accept that reality, nothing in the world has power to diminish us in any way. That's the magic, if you will. That's the power, if you will. That's the sacred nature of these words. because they call upon the truth in us. That's what makes them sacred. It's not so much the words, but what they remind us of. I am as God created me.